Dallas Cowboys on three. Make it loud. 1, 2, 3. Dallas Cowboys.
Snap back to Prescott. He's going deep. Down the right side. Over the shoulder for Bryant. Perfect. All the way down and around the 25-yard line of the Eagles.
Get the right kind of guys here. High standards. Work your ass off every day. High accountability. Okay? And then it shows up on Sunday.
Out of the gun, back to Dak. He's taking another shot in the end zone. It does! Left side of the end zone. Touchdown, Dez Bryant. Looking lit out. He starts up the middle. Now he pulls it back. Now he peels around left. Now he throws it in the end zone. Jason Witten. Touchdown. Cowboys win.
You love them or you hate them, but you will tune in and turn in to see what people are saying about them. That's why they call America's team.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? I'm riding solo today. You know what I'm saying? This only for the first show. This only for the first show. JK, he's a golfer. I don't know if he's trying to turn pro, whatever he's trying to do, but he had a little golfing outing like Mr. Tony Romo. He's out there doing his little golfing thing. So Big Game James is just running the first show, and then he's going to appear on that second one. So Silver and Blue Nation, what's up, everybody? Brought to you again by EB Sports Network. How y'all doing? I love all y'all. Who's up? Oh, you like the shirt? I appreciate you, Michael. I got the shirt for Zeke because this is who we're going to be talking about. Zeke going to that top 10, 100. That's going down tomorrow. So I had to bring my boy Zeke in because it feels so good that we got all these Cowboys in the top 100. I appreciate you, Michael. Thank you. What's up, big dog? What's up, Anthony, in this place? I see you, Katina. What's up? It looks like I need a – oh, you could have came in. Adrian, what's up? Everybody here. I'm riding solo today, so just kind of feel me today. I can always take you in as a special guest. If you ever want to come down to Ohio, you know what I'm saying, come holler at me. We'll get you right here. We chill. We talk Cowboys football. That's what we do. So how's everybody doing today? I love all y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in once again. This show is gonna be a little dedicated to the kind of the top 100. You know, training camp hasn't started. We 77 days until the official season. Training camp starts July 24th. Rookies there are the 18th, but we still got that dead period. But the top 100 has been going on, and I know all y'all been seeing this top 100, and you've seen all these Cowboys in there. Travis Frederick, Sean Lee, Dez Bryant, Zach Martin. We just showed on this show on the page a few days ago with Tyron Smith beasting in at 18th and the man Dak Prescott coming in at 14th, which we're going to talk about because it looks like, what's up, Big Dino? How you doing today? I love all y'all tuning in. We're going to talk about these guys in the top 100. You know, was their spots deservedly so? There's been a kind of maybe not a lot of controversy, but a lot of people jumping out there talking about did Dak Prescott deserve to be the top 14th in the top 100? Why not? If we're going by the first year, because this is not a career, it's the top 100 for 2016. So if you're looking at the year that Dak Prescott compared to the other quarterbacks, he had a phenomenal year. Nobody thought he was going to come in and play. Nobody thought he was going to be a third stringer. Kellen Moore was going to be our second string quarterback. When Tony Romo got hurt, Kellen Moore was our quarterback, not Dak Prescott. So if you come in off the fly and had a dumbed-down playbook and you have the year then yeah, you definitely deserve to be in that number 14th in the top 100. What's up, Carson? Dak Prescott. I feel you maybe top 10. We know he's going to eventually get there. I definitely know I want to see what he's going to do this year. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year. But it was exciting to see what he did. Everybody's talking about how he's going to progress and be what he's going to be even more a dominant force. I think he is. I think he's going to have an even better year. Maybe might not have the stats, maybe have a little more interceptions, but I feel like his control of the offense, his control of the team has been set in place, and I think he's a guy that studies. He's a guy that's in the film room. He's a guy that wants to get better. He's a guy that embraces being a Cowboy and a quarterback for America's team. And when you embrace being a quarterback for America's team, you're only going to get better. The way that Troy Aikman and those guys did, they embraced it. They loved it. That it meant everything to him. And I think Dak Prescott, when he was a kid, he wanted to be a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. So when you're a little kid and then you wanting to be a quarterback or playing for the Dallas Cowboys and you actually get to play for them, that's not going to mean something to you. You're always not going to want to be the best. I think you are. Feel me? So, Jason Garrett, man, is awful. We're going to talk about him too because Jason Garrett was in the rankings as they had the NFL rankings for the coaches across the board. from the beginning, from the end to the worst, from the worst to the best. I'm sorry, and they had Jason Garrett at 13th, which I thought was a pretty fair. I think that was a pretty fair rating. I think he was rated a few years ago. He was like 15th. So 13th to me is good for him because of what he did for our team last year, coming in on the fly. You lose your starting quarterback again, because people forget that we lost Tony Romo in 2015, and we had a 7-game losing streak, and everybody was upset and frustrated. We lost Tony Romo again at the beginning of the year. Then you lose your backup quarterback right after that, and you're putting a guy in on the fly, and you come in and win 13 games. I don't care about the playoff game. I get it. But, you know, we all understand that was a fluky game. Now, if that happens again another year, then we question things. But to me, that ranking is deserved. He jumps in that top 10 if he gets to that championship game. To me, if you get to the Super Bowl, then I'm understanding that now you're finally a big game coach. So that's what I'm really waiting for Garrett. So for me to say Jason Garrett is awful, I do not believe that. So sorry about that. Anyway, so how's everybody doing? So we're going to jump right into this top 100 right now. Travis Frederick came in at 87. I think Travis Frederick should have been higher than 87. I think, he came in as a first rounder who everybody thought we overdrafted him. We thought because his combine numbers weren't great, he had like one of the second slowest time as an offensive lineman. And so for you to come in and start from day one when everybody thought we reached for him and he's been a solid rock the whole time. I mean, Travis Frederick is a beast. You know he came from Wisconsin. Those guys from Wisconsin bring great players. Guys who come from Wisconsin, I have confidence because when you're on the offensive line for Wisconsin, I feel like you're going to have a good career. And so for you to be a starter the whole time and you were not supposed to even be a first rounder by many people, I think you deserve it to be higher than an 87 grade. So I would like to see Travis Frederick at least been in a 67 or 68 type of realm, not an 87. So I definitely think he should have been higher on that. What's up, Greg? Tyrone, what's up, everybody? Love all y'all. So Travis Frederick, I definitely should have felt like he should have been higher than that. And don't forget to call into the number. We got the number up here. I'm going to get it up here in a second. 1-866-217-1966. We're taking calls at the top of the hour. I'm taking calls at the top of the hour. And I'm going to I want y'all to call in at the top of the hour. We'll be taking calls. And I want to ask you, where does Ezekiel Elliott place in the top 10 in your book? In my book, I'm not going to tell you, in my book, he's going to be a top 5. But I want y'all to call in. And I just want to ask y'all, where do you think Ezekiel Elliott is going to fall in the top 10, in the top 100 this year? I'm excited to see what he's going to look like. I don't know about y'all, but I was super hyped to see Tyron Smith, Dak Prescott in there in that top 100. Everybody was waiting to see what ranking he was going to have. Derek Carr was a little bit higher than him at 11th, but I think that was a good spot for Dak Prescott. And if you really think about it, I'm getting some numbers here. Jessica says 4. I want to hear all you other guys. People tell me just on here, where do you think he'll fall? But if you look at what Dak Prescott, as far as all these other quarterbacks, he was ahead. Dak Prescott was 14th this year. He was ahead of Alex Smith, Phillip Rivers, Kirk Cousins, Andrew Luck, Cam Newton, Marcus Mariota, Matthew Stafford, Ben Roethlisberger, Russell Wilson, and Drew Brees. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal when you think about what he did this year. Look at all these quarterbacks I named. Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Roethlisberger. You got the up-and-coming Marcus Mariota, who I think is really good. Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers. These guys are beasts, and Dak is ahead of them. So I really want him to really, where he was at now, I want him to take a springboard and take us to that promised land, because I feel like we finally have that quarterback that can lead us. No dissing on Romo, because I love Romo for life. But you know how I just feel like you would look at certain people that come to your team and you feel like, man, this dude has it. And I just feel like Dak has it. More than his numbers. I don't care if he has great numbers, but the thing that gets me excited about Dak is his leadership ability. He never seems to feel like he gets flapped out. I mean, he doesn't crumble under pressure, and that really gets me excited about him, because that's what we need in those big games when we play those big teams in the playoffs. people forget in that Green Bay game, he went toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers. The only bad play he had in that playoff game was the interception of Michael Hyde. You know what I'm saying? I wonder about the play call on that time. I don't know if he audible out of that, but that was the only bad play he had in that Green Bay game. He went line for line, throwing over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, bringing us back. It was, I mean, that just proved to me that this guy is really it, because that was a time in a playoff game where you can fall off and you can fold and wilt under pressure. But not only did he look pressure in the face, he destroyed pressure. So that's why I'm citing. That's why he deserves to be in that top, 20? Feel me? So, what's up, y'all? Yes, exactly. No bad.
Who you talking to?
I was talking to Jessica. She says she agrees Dak is humble, and I think that's the biggest thing to me as well. He's a humble guy. He really embraces being a Cowboy and the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. I think he really embraces the American team thing, and he really wants us. It resonates in him. You know, we talked about it before, G. If you're hearing me, how we didn't know if even Jerry Jones was like, I want Romo to be in that playbook studying all the time.
Right.
I want him to do that. And this is a guy where I feel Dak Prescott is that guy that does that. He is that guy that takes his stuff serious. He studies. He wants to know the best. He wants to know when that cornerback's going to bite on this hot route. He wants to know if he goes straight on a 9 route that this guy is going to be open. It looks like this is the type of guy that studies like that, and that gets me excited for this year because I feel like he's not going to just rest on what he did in 2016.
I mean, you saw what happened in the Top 100 video when Josh Norman talked about how he tried to set bait for him.
Right.
And Dak saw him first and went to his other guy. Well, that goes to show his maturity as well, as he's trusting his players to be where they're supposed to be. So in his mind, he already knows they're going to be there. So all he has to do is look at the defender, and that's probably the signs of a veteran quarterback already in year one.
Exactly.
That's impressive.
It's very impressive, especially when Josh Norman is saying I tried to bait him from the very beginning, and he caught me. He saw me first, and then I went out and saw his second read. And if you look at a lot of times when Dak was playing in the games, he wasn't staring at that first read. I mean, he got plenty of protection, but he was doing his check downs, and he was looking for a long pass. Yes, did he miss some? Of course, he's a rookie. He's not going to see everything, but his check down and the passes that he was completed. I mean, even Kirk Cousins, when he was talking about that pass he completed to Dez Bryant when we were coming back in that game when they were making that little run where Washington was.
Right.
And he completed that big pass to Bryant.
Yes,
about the 2-yard line. That basically sealed
right
the game.
over the top.
And he was on the run.
Yeah, that was
and people forget that was a phenomenal pass and I think that was like third down.
It was huge.
It was a huge play. I mean,
Kirk Cousins mentioned the accuracy and the arm strength it took to hit that play, but he didn't even mention how he was running for his life when he did it.
Exactly. Dudes were hot on his trail. I mean, we'll think about even when he was how many times have we seen him running to the sidelines throwing a complete pass? I mean, the one he threw to Terrence Wins when he did the toe drag.
I can think of a few. A couple to Cole Beasley, getting that Baltimore game.
Yes. I mean, and I love – that's what it gets me excited about. This guy is I just get excited. You feel what I'm saying, G? I just get excited.
You already ran through the rest of them?
I went through everybody. Basically, we talked about Travis Frederick. He should have been higher. I don't think he should have been 87th. He should have been at least in the 60s, high 60s for me. If you're talking about they're talking about Travis Frederick's one of the best centers in the league, and he's 87th?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. And you got Zach Martin at 58th. Zach Martin should be at least 35th. You're talking about maybe the second best guard in the league behind Marshall Yanda, who plays for the Baltimore Ravens, who's been in there for the last 6 years, and he's reputable. But when you're looking at Zach Martin as far as what he's done, he's probably the best guard in the league. He's been an All-Pro, almost every year?
What's up, Seaver?
What's up, Saber? How you doing? Let me get a couple questions out there. Albert says, do you think we played?
He's asking about the length of the preseason games. We got 5 this year.
Yeah, we got 5 this year. I guess I'm half and half on that. I worry about too many preseason games because the only reason why I worry about preseason game is injuries. You don't want those extra injuries, but a lot of those guys aren't really going to play in those games. So honestly, for this year, I want the 5 games because I want to see our rookies. This is the perfect time for us to have.
That's exactly what the games are for.
I mean, it is because the older guys are not playing. I mean, you're not going to see Zeke Elliott. You're not going to see Dak Prescott and said that third game where they consider that the real game where they play the half and maybe into the third quarter. But those other games, you're only going to see them in a series.
Guess who's going to be at the Hall of Fame game?
We are. What up,
Silver
Trey?
and Blue Nation.
Silver and Blue Nation will be there. Hall of Fame game. Get down there, man.
It's on a Thursday night this year.
Thursday night?
That's different. It's usually on a Sunday night.
That's okay. It's all good. Thursday night football.
Yeah,
you know how they be pushing that Thursday night football.
We'll be on the scene.
It will be on the scene. If you can get to that Hall of Fame game and can, come holler at us. Silver Blue Nation will be there live. EB Sports Network. Call in 1-866-217-1966 at the top of the hour, and you're going to tell me where you think Ezekiel Elliott should rank in the top 10 and the top 100 this year. You know what I'm saying? So give me some questions, y'all. What's your prediction? What's up, Juan? What's our prediction?
You, what's your prediction?
All right, I've been said it. My prediction is 11-5. It might be 12-4. I'm gonna say 11-5 or 12-4. It's really going. I think we may lose a couple of those tough games, maybe at the end of the game, maybe one of those fluky plays. But I believe we'll lose no more than 5. I'm leaning toward 12-4. I want to see what those guys are really looking at preseason. I know it's preseason, it doesn't matter, but I remember them all saying that about Dak last year. Oh, it's preseason. He's completing all these passes in preseason. He ain't going to do it in the regular season. I remember a guy named Colin Coward saying that, saying this is the preseason. Dak is not going to do this week 1. He's not going to be throwing these passes.
I remember, too.
And guess what? He completed 67%. He threw over 23 touchdowns, only 4 picks, ran for 5 or 6. I had over 3,000 yards, and so you said that was only preseason. So preseason does mean something. We all should know
felt like
that.
from the very start he was going to be a monster. The very first play,
Yeah,
the play action rollout to
Yes.
Jeff Swaim. I remember that perfectly.
exactly,
Right away, I'm like, okay, this guy's good.
exactly. Oh, there go Jessica. She go hard on me. So I love you, Jessica. You go hard. What do I think about the D tackle from Joey Ivy? He's on the list today. Big Trey. Honestly, if you looked at, they had a projection last week. I think we put on the page a projection about the 53-man roster. I really believe, unless Joey Ivy has a terrible camp, he is going to make the squad, at least on the practice squad. I don't know if he would make the active roster. He would have to beat out a lot of people.
I
mean,
was just going to ask you who's
yeah,
gone then.
Yeah, you would have to, because Stephen Paya right now, who we just got as the free agent, he's has a little injury right now, so that's why we haven't seen him on the field. And they said Cedric Thornton has really been balling out. He needs to have been starting anyway because he's making $4 million a year, and we brought him as a free agent acquisition from Philly to make that spot at the one technique. So they said Thornton is really showing up. You got Paya as a backup. You can slide Crawford because they want to put Crawford at the one technique as well and put him alongside Malik Collins to give him a good rush effort. You can always slide David Irvin in the tackle spot. So I don't know if he makes the active roster, but I know unless he has a terrible camp, he's going to be on that practice squad. I want to see him because you don't see Ron Marinelli do a shoulder or a flex move on a 7th-round draft pick if he don't think he's going to make the team.
So what about the other 7th-rounder, Jordan Carroll?
I don't know if Jordan Carroll makes the team. I just think
You got more confidence in Ivy.
I got more confidence in Ivy because I seen Ivy's tape and I seen Carroll's tape. Ivy looks like a very good disruptor. He looks like a guy that can hold the point of attack, taking on the offensive guard and the center. And he's just got a motor like no other, and those are Rod Marinelli guys. He loves those guys with those motors. And he's not a little guy. He's 6'3". He's 305 pounds. He's going to get bigger playing with us. So I think he's going to be on the roster and make the team, but I just think he will be more of a practice squad player because we're just going to have too much depth. You got to look at our line. We got 10 guys on the line right now, not even including Ivy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Albert asked, do you think that we will be making any trades before the start of the regular season?
Maybe Alfred Morris. They might dangle him because, as I said before, Rod Smith is starting to got a lot of action in the mini camp and the OTAs. I know it's this mini camp OTAs, but they really said Rod Smith has stepped his game up. He's 6'3" and he's 235 pounds.
He's a fullback.
He's a fullback. But he has running skills, abilities. You saw at Ohio State. He was a running back. He was running back at Ohio State, so he has running back skills. I don't think Alfred Morris really offers us anything besides leadership, so I could see us offering a trade for him. But honestly, who's really going to take Alfred Morris? That's unless somebody really gets hurt. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know who we're going to really trade. We don't really have the surplus to be, in my eyes, to really get rid of some people. This is my opinion. All right, Jeff the Spoken Word, what's up? How y'all doing today? Oh, I see Raider V. He's watching. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Anyway, what are my thoughts on Taco? I like Taco Charlton. I was wanting him when we in March before our draft even started. I really wanted him. I think he's going to be a good player. Do I see him getting 10 sacks for us this year? No. Do I see him getting maybe 8? No. I think he maybe get 5, maybe 6. I think he has to fill out into his frame. I think he needs to get bigger, stronger, much like a David Irving. But I like the pick of Taco Charlton. I think down the line he's going to be a very good player for us.
You love him or you hate him, but you will tune in and turn in to see what people are saying about him. That's why they call America's team.
All right, we got on the phone line Raider Vay.
Raider Vay.
That's why I played that clip real quick.
What's up, man? It's Raider V calling in, man. I got a question for you. I seen a post recently about Derek Carr and Dak Prescott saying who's going to win more rings. I just wanted to know your honest opinion about that. Who do you think's going to win more rings when it's all said and done?
All said and done. First of all, I'm glad you called in. What's up, big dog? How you doing? I got much love for you. Much love for you.
Much respect. I love your show, man. I always tune in, man.
Appreciate you.
Much respectful, man.
Right, much respect for you and the Raider Nation over there,
we
too.
had that on the prep list today.
Honestly, in my honest opinion, I think it will be a situation where Dak may get one more, because I feel like the biggest thing that's going to be the key to me, even though I think the Raiders, they got Khalil Mack, I think y'all got more of a solid guy on that defensive guy, a war daddy as we call. But I think y'all, since we have the running game with Zeke, I think that's what propels us to get one more championship than Derek Carr, because Zeke is young. He may get 2 contracts with us. I don't see Marshawn Lynch staying with the Raiders forever, and they don't have a solid guy behind them. I think the running game will propel and really going to help Dak propel us to get that Super Bowl. So I'm going to say 2-1 over Derek Carr. As much as I like Derek Carr, he's a beast, and I can't wait to play y'all Week 15, because that's going to be the game of the year, bro.
That's much respect. I just want to say one thing. I think it all depends on Amari Cooper and Des Bryant, whoever plays for the team longer. You know what I'm trying to say?
What's up? Say that again to me.
Because I think it all comes down to who's the wideout, who plays longer for the team, though.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the NFL is not a running game anymore, bro. It's a passing game, man.
It's a passing game. I feel you, but here's the.
If Coop is going to play longer, I feel like Derek Carr is going to get one more ring above Dez, but I see you guys winning, like, I say equal, man.
Well,
I think we're going to play each other in the Super Bowl this year, son. I honestly think that it's either going to be you guys or Green Bay, man.
So you're getting right past New England, huh?
Hell yeah.
Good luck.
But, yo, I'm out, man.
Hey.
Nice calling you
Appreciate
guys.
the
Hey,
call.
appreciate you, big dog. I'll be talking to you. Raider V. Hey, what's up? Hey, Raider V, respect the show. I got mad love for Raider V. He don't hate on Cowboy Nation. It's going to be a great game. I told you, that Cowboys-Raiders is going to be the game of the year. But we all know we're getting that Super Bowl. We're going to get that championship, and it's going to be Dak more than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? We got another call in. Anyway, Trey asked me, I think you asked me a question, do I think Zeke will get it? He could get 2,000. I mean, he could have had it really last year. I mean, we really look at it. I mean, his last year number is 1,631 yards, 5.1 yards a carry, 15 touchdowns. And we got to understand, his first 2 games he didn't have over 100. He had the last 2 games where the Philly game he didn't even play. He only played the first half against the Lions. So if you really look at what he really could have did last year, hitting 2,000, he could have hit it last year. So I think it's definitely possible. I don't need for him to hit 2,000, but I look for him to stay in that 1,700 to 1,800 yards for the next 3-4 years.
Hey, Ron Smith, JK had a golfing event today, so he'll be on for the late show tonight.
Yeah, JK, he likes to golf.
Yeah, so we got somebody on the phone line right now. Let's go to Michael Nelson. What's up, Michael?
What's up, Michael?
What's up, man? Y'all all right?
Yeah, I'm all good, dog. We talking Cowboys football. We're just waiting for this daggone training camp to start and get ready. I got you on the phone. Want to get your little quick thoughts on this, and then we're gonna go to the next one. But you tell me right now, where do you think Zeke is going to place in the top 100, in the top 10? Where do you think he's going to place?
What do you mean? You said what's going to top in the top 100?
Yeah, where do you think Zeke is? The top 10 that comes out this week, actually, it's going to be out Monday. Where do you think Zeke is going to fall in the top 100 in that top 10?
Man, honestly, to be honest with you, I see him being if he's not in the top 10, he's in the top 15.
Oh no,
Easy.
he's going to be in the top 10. It's going to be here.
Okay, so then I give him a strong 8. I say an 8.
You say 8?
Top 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
You got people who had stellar seasons like Julio, and you got people like Aaron Rodgers. They all had stellar seasons at one last year. So I give him like a 8.
Okay, I like that. Eight's a good one, and I like that. And I appreciate you calling in again, Michael. I love you, big dog. Thank you for tuning in the show. Make sure you stay tuned in for the rest of the time. All right.
You already know I will. Later on tonight as well.
All right.
How about them Cowboys?
All right. He says, Michael Nelson says top 8. What do you think? That's a good little. I say top 5. I'm going with Zeke with the top 5. G. I think if I'm gonna give you my top 10 list right now in the top 100, here's my list right now. Who I would have the guys. You tell me if you don't like it. If not, it's cool. But I got Tom Brady number 1. I got Matt Ryan number 2.
Wait. Start from 10. Go up.
Okay. I'll go from 10 to 1. I got Von Miller at 10. Okay. I got Khalil Mack at 9. Antonio Brown at 7. Le'Veon Bell at 6. Who is it? Then I had Odell Beckham
At 5.
Zeke
At 4.
I'm missing somebody because then I got Aaron Rodgers. We still got Aaron Rodgers, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, and Tom Brady.
Yeah. I don't know what you did. That's all right.
I threw it off, but Zeke is in my top 5.
So, staying on Zeke, how about he wanted to? I read an article saying that Zeke feels like he could be like Marshall Faulk.
Those are some pretty big britches.
So that would mean basically adding the receiving game to
Exactly.
his game now, which I think he had it already. We just didn't utilize it.
We didn't utilize it. I think we were really. You saw the potential when we did the screen game with him. If we can get guys to kick out, when you saw Zach Martin and those guys leading the trail, and you got Zeke kicking out, those are just nothing but big yards and big gains. But do you think? Let me ask you this, though, G. Do you think has the type of versatility as far as Marshall wasn't a big guy. Zeke is kind of a big kid. Do you really think he could really catch the ball like that, getting 60, 70 catches in a year?
I don't think he would have any problems catching the ball because I think that's going to come with more designed plays for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he has the same type of agility that a Marshall Faulk had. I mean, that guy was just ridiculous. He was probably the closest thing I've seen to Barry Sanders. And Zeke don't really have the dancing around type moves, like what a Marshall Faulk or Barry Sanders had.
Right.
He's more hit that cut, hit the hole, and run you over.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I mean, he could definitely be more involved. You look at a guy like David Johnson. He's extremely involved in the Cardinals passing game.
And he's a big guy.
He's the same type of player. He kind of runs a little stiffer.
But
he's not the most agile. He doesn't have
But
the most
doesn't it
agility,
seem like him and Zeke got different body types? It seems like I love seeing Zeke catch the ball, but it's like, to me, I just want to feed Zeke 30 carries a game. He's just that type of guy that gets better when he gets more and more and more and more carries.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's going to, his number will continue to increase. I mean, they worked him hard last year, but they didn't work him as hard as they could have.
Yeah.
Like Murray was worked harder, before.
Right.
The 2 seasons before that.
Hey, listen, Raider V is killing me for having Khalil Mack. All right, you can smack me. I don't know. Khalil Mack can be higher. I apologize on that. Khalil Mack is a beast.
Well, you got to look at offense is going to get the love first.
That's why I was looking at it. So anybody who's listening, Raider V, only reason why I'm putting those offensive guys ahead of them is because they always tend to give those offensive guys love. I'm a defensive guy. I love Von Miller. I love Khalil Mack. I love seeing those guys higher. But it just seems to me that with the top 100, they always give it to those offensive guys before defensive guys. So that's the reason why I had him that low. Do I think that he had a better than a year than a Le'Veon Bell, or what does he make a difference? That's what you got to look at. Khalil Mack changes the game, but does he change the game like Le'Veon Bell changes the game? You're saying to me that the running game is deceased. Look what Le'Veon Bell does to his team. You know what I'm saying? When they don't have Le'Veon Bell, G, what happens to the Steelers? They're a whole different team. When you get
Absolutely. They don't have the same type of offensive
line.
line.
You don't have the same
either,
You don't have the same type of line. But when you have a guy that's transcendent in the backfield, he changes your whole game. You saw what Zeke brought to the table. Dak was good because Zeke was there. You know what I'm saying? Dak was going to be good regardless, but Zeke being there made Dak even better. That's just my opinion on that. And so that's why those defensive guys will always get a lower look than our offensive guys will.
Right.
I mean, honestly.
Thanks for the love, Michael. Appreciate it. Michael Wolfter.
Appreciate that. Yes, we still have McFadden. I think Chad says, yes, we still have McFadden. Matter of fact, he said he turned down offers to go with other teams to stay with us. And I like Darren McFadden. I don't know why people be hating on Darren McFadden. I like McFadden. I like him as a backup. I think he's a good backup for what we do. He's versatile. He can play special teams as well. He can get back there and return kicks if you need him to.
He's just a guy he was picked in the first round, and he didn't live up to that. So that's why I would say people look down. If he was a late-round pick, no one would be saying anything.
But the only thing really derailed his career was injuries.
Right.
When he was healthy, he produced.
Still being a first-round pick, you expected to have a better career than that. That's the only thing I could see anyone knocking him for. But there's no reason to hate Darren McFadden.
No, not at all. I think he's a good back, and I think he brings a lot more to the table than Alfred Morris, in my opinion. So that's just my thing with that. Some other things that we brought up, Jonathan Cooper. I think Jonathan Cooper is a big guy to me right now, G, because if he ever lives up to that status of his first-round pick and we got La'el Collins at the right tackle, that's where I think you can see Zeke getting to 2,000 yards. Because if we had Ron Leary last year and La'el Collins at the right tackle last year, what? That would have been crazy. You had Ron Leary having a fantastic year, and then you would have had Collins playing right tackle last year over Doug Free. I'm sorry, I'm not a Doug Free hater, but I like La'el Collins there better than Doug Free.
Well, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
It's 4 o'clock, so the phone lines are open up. Let's go.
Yeah,
we
call
already
in.
took a couple, but let's keep them coming.
Keep them calls coming.
866-217-1966. Give us a call here at the studio, the EB Sports Network studio. And talk to Silver and Blue Nation. Let's do it.
Silver and Blue Nation, call in, and I want to hear your opinion of where you think in the top 100. Everybody's been seeing the top 100. It's a big thing now. All the players are voting on it, things of that nature. Zeke Elliott, we've seen the Tyron Smith. We've seen Dak Prescott crack that top 20 this past week, and now Zeke is going to be in that top 10. Where do you think Ezekiel Elliott falls in the top 100? In that top 10 Monday, call in and let us know what you think.
Joey Archie says he's nervous that Jason Garrett will fall too much in love with the newfound passing game. He's known to do that at times, and that's the only way the league stops us. I don't agree with that because I think that since Jason Garrett has been relieved of his offensive play calling duties, that Scott Linehan will now be the guy to control that. So I don't really agree with that. I don't think Garrett's going to have anything to do with that decision. Unless maybe the game's on the line.
I agree with that because if you look at a lot of people, what they say is the reason why they like Jason Garrett because they let his coaches coach. He lets the offensive coordinator call the game, and he lets the defensive coordinator call the game. And he doesn't really jump in there and really step on a lot of their toes. He lets them do them. So I don't think he's going to get too acute and too fancy, but if you listen what Nate Burleson said on that interview that we had on our page where he says he played under Scott Linehan with the I believe the Detroit Lions, he played under him, and he said Scott Linehan is just like the Golden State Warriors. Once he starts getting on a roll, he starts attacking, and he does like to pass the ball. But Jason Garrett loves running the football, so I think it's a good cohesive nature. I don't think anything's going to fall off that train. The only thing Jason Garrett has to do is win in the playoffs. That's the only thing Jason Garrett has to do.
Definitely.
In my eyes, right there.
The new standard has been set.
I mean, that's been the standard. We have the team in place. I like Garrett. I've been saying time and time again, I like Garrett because I want us to keep the cohesive motion that we have. We have these guys in place. We have Marinelli. We have Scott Linehan. We have Jason Garrett. There's no need to go outside and change anything, but he's just got to win those big games. And once he wins those big games, I think that's going to put him in the upper echelon of coaching. That's the only thing he needs to do right now. That's I don't know if it's a monkey on his back to me, but it's something that's sitting there that has to be overcome. And I think this is the year that is a perfect year for him to overcome any doubts that we have in our mind about Jason Garrett.
I mean, certainly, unless something happens to Zeke or Dak, and then just like what happened with Romo in 15, how Romo went down, it kind of gave him an excuse. So
right.
Unless something like that happens catastrophic, the expectations are very high right now.
Well, like I was saying, to his credit,
especially with this rookie class we just got.
If we look at what happened in 2015, right, when Romo got hurt, the third, fourth game of the year, right, we lost 7 in a row. That's why I'm going to give him credit because we had the same situation happen last year, and he got hurt in a preseason game, and he was out for 10 games. He was out longer than 7 games. He was out for 10 games. Then you lose your backup after that, and then you bring a guy who you weren't even going to play and you end up being 13-3. That's why I got to give him some credit as being a really good coach to bring that team together like he did. Okay?
Hey, what's up, Avion? Appreciate it. DC in the house. Stars up, Mr. Cowboy. Thanks for joining us. I know you're always there with us.
Trey asks, I think Linehan will be gone. This is what I'm worried about. I think Linehan.
Wait a minute. He thinks he's going to be gone, but he needs to give us more. Like, why does he think because of something bad or because we win a Super Bowl and how
I think he's saying as far as him going to another team.
Right. But is that because we had a bad record, or is it because we won the Super Bowl and teams like to overpay coaches that win Super Bowls?
I think it's the second one.
I think it's the Super Bowl.
Because people remember, even this year, people are already picking at Scott Linehan. People weren't really coming out Ron Marinelli this year, but people have looked at Scott Linehan has already brought up quarterbacks and had great systems with them. And people were pulling at Scott Linehan to see what he was, what he wanted to do, but he said he was happy. If we get to a Super Bowl and win something, all of a sudden he becomes a hot commodity. I don't know if he stays next year. I hope he does, but you know how what happens, success goes. I think
every coach, player, every member of the team becomes a hot commodity at that point. We see that every year.
Yeah.
Any team that wins a Super Bowl, somebody's getting overpaid.
Exactly. And wasn't Scott Linehan a coach? Wasn't he with the Rams or somebody like that?
He's been a head coach.
He's been a head coach already before.
So he probably is aware that that's a very tough situation, and he has a good one right here. So.
Right. And I think that's probably the reason why he hasn't left. But we all know.
And they're the highest paid assistants in the league, too. So.
True story. But when you get that success and you've already been a head coach in this league, it's hard not to want to be a head coach again. You know what I mean?
I don't have time to have a bad time.
Yeah, I hear you. Did somebody mention Darrelle Revis again? No, don't talk about Darrelle Revis.
That's probably because there's not a whole lot going on, so someone's going to talk about it.
Let's leave Darrelle Revis alone. We keep talking about him.
We're not finished talking about Colin Kaepernick or any of those guys until they sign somewhere.
But Darrelle Revis, let go of the Darrelle Revis thing, man. We got our guys. Chidobe is looking good. I don't know if y'all seen this picture. They Dallas Cowboys got in. They had the little picture of all our rookies together, and hey, Chidobe, like me and you was talking about, Chidobe looks the part.
Oh, he's thick. He's huge.
Chidobe, what was that? Chidebe, because that's Chidobe, Awuzie.
Yep.
Right?
You got it.
He looks the part. And I'm telling you.
He looks the part of safety.
Safety. He might start out as corner. It's funny because everybody's been talking about what position he's going to play. He's going to probably start out a corner, but that dude's going to safety. I don't care. Anybody tells me they're going to move him to safety. That's where they want to see him.
Dino wants to know what he missed. We've just been recapping the NFL's top 100, all the Cowboys in it for the whole season, considering
all my Cowboys fans, what's up?
Tomorrow we got Zeke, most likely appearing in the top 10, so that'll be fun to talk about. We'll get that video out there as quick as possible.
1-866-217-1966. Call in to tell us where you think Zeke's going to fall in that top 10
on
the top 100. Let us know what you got to say. But as I said before, they going at it. I love it. They going at it, right? G. They going at it with Raider V. He said, "Who going to guard Amari Cooper?" Hey, we got somebody. We got somebody for Amari Cooper. We got somebody for him. It's going to be. Hey, remember we was talking about Jordan Lewis. I told you, everybody's talking to me about Odell Beckham and Brandon Marshall and those guys out there. I'm telling you, Jordan Lewis on Odell Beckham, he's going to get that matchup. I can't wait to see it because when you see Jordan Lewis with his feet, that boy's going to – Jordan Lewis, Chidobe, they're going to be the man. Why? Just why? I'm done talking to all these guys. Y'all think we're going to have a weak secondary. We're going to have a good secondary this year, man.
Be careful. Don't set those expectations too high or you might get disappointed. Odell, he's pretty good on no matter who he plays.
Odell is nasty.
So
he is. But
I wouldn't expect him to be shut down.
I'm not expecting him to shut down. But what I am saying is when I hear people, tons and tons of scouts saying that Jordan Lewis has special feet. He has special traits.
Well, we know he has special hands.
And he has special hands. And he's sticky. That's who I want to see lining up. I want to see the matchup. Yeah, you might get burned a little bit, but Jordan Lewis has that little cocky little attitude as well. And that's how you make it in the league, forgetting the last play that just happened to you. I feel a lot better with a Jordan Lewis on there than a Brandon Carr. You feel me?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm with you.
And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
Hey, but check this out. Even Stephen A. Smith gave Dak Prescott the nod over Derek Carr.
Well, that's where the whole thing came from.
Right.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl first?
I mean, because like I was telling Raider V, we have a running back and they don't. Marshawn Lynch, he's not playing with the Raiders for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years. He's not doing that. We know that. But we have a running back that can be doing that. And that's, I think, is going to be the key. And we're building our defense up. They got Khalil Mack. They got Garyon Conley. I mean, they got some good players over there on the Raiders line, but our guys are building up. And the thing, when we get our defense the way our offense is, we're going to win championships, and that's the fact. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys through all our history, in the 70s when we won our Super Bowls, we had a very good offense, but it was doomsday defense.
Oh, and we were talking about Jason Garrett, and I forgot to mention that Jason Garrett, according to NFL.com, is ranked the 13th best head coach in the league.
13th. So
what is that based on, though? Last season or his overall, resume? I'm not sure what they're basing that on.
I think they're going to go – I don't know if they're doing by year.
They're going on last season. He won the Coach of the Year,
yeah.
so he should be a little higher than that. But it's
I
got to be more
I think
of
their
a
overall resume, I think they're looking at – you had 3 8-8 seasons. You kept them competitive, and then you had to break out 12-4. We'll let you slide with the injuries with Romo and Dez, and you come back with rookies and get 13-3. So that's why I would think they're – if you look at Jason Garrett, he is between 13 and 15 to me. He's a mid-level coach right now because he hasn't won anything. He's got a couple division titles, but until he gets to like an NFC championship, that's when I think he'll get into a top 10. Not until then. He's got to win an NFC championship at least.
Hey, I see JK tuned in with us. What's up, JK?
What's up, JK?
Hey,
you tuning in?
Call in, man. Just give us a little segment.
I feel you, Trey. Carr don't play with us no more. I feel you. He's out of here. So, we ain't worried about what Odell did to Brandon Carr. We're gonna worry about what Odell Beckham's doing to Awuzie, what he's doing to Jordan Lewis. You guys out there, the other teams out there trolling us saying we don't have no secondary. Yes, we're going to have a secondary. I'm going to put the farm on this secondary because I believe in this secondary. I believe we have to finally have some talent back there. Those guys every year felt they had their positions. I mean, think about it when we had Brandon Carr. Think about it when we had Morris Claiborne. They didn't have nobody behind them challenging them. Who was the guys that was the backups that were challenging Morris Claiborne?
We didn't have any.
We didn't have any. So that's why they were coming in every year feeling like their spot was there. And maybe I don't know, maybe they didn't train as hard. Maybe I don't know. But now when you got young rookies that are sitting there young and hungry and they want to establish themselves, they take it a little bit more personal than rather a guy who feels like he has a spot every single year. And you guys are going to see Raiders, you Giants, you Redskins, you Eagles. You're going to see we're going to have a new secondary. It's going to be a real secondary.
It kind of goes into what I've said in a show before, a previous show. You don't. Your expectations were whatever we had last year. I mean, that's what the standard has been for a few seasons. So,
right.
And it's been pretty low. So how can you get much worse than what we had last year? You really have nothing to lose by cleaning house and making a change. So all you can really do is go up from where we've been.
Exactly. And these people keep on talking about our secondary. Like all these other teams keep talking about our secondary.
I mean, they're inexperienced, so they don't have experience.
It.
So that's what we got to see. But if you're going to go based on what they've done in college, that's all you got right now. You got to be pretty excited.
What's up? Hey, come here, right quick. I got my son here. I want to show everybody my son right here. This is the
special shout out.
Special shout out. Come right over here, man. We'll give a shout out to my son. He's out here in the studio today. Make sure you don't knock nothing over. Can you see him? Is he in there?
He's in there.
He's in there. What's up? This is my son right here. Big Game James' son. Jamon, wave to him. Say what's up.
Let's get him. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? This is my dog here. He's gonna be a sophomore next year. 6'2", a little over 6'2". He's playing the cornerback position, so we're gonna try to get him locked up and try to lock down some of them Giants guys later on down the line. What's up, big dog?
That'd be cool. Let's get one more.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah, JJ rocking the house. Hey, so what about Jalen? I hear some people ask about Jalen Smith. I think the thing across the board with Jalen Smith is right now they're looking at him being a 2-down linebacker because they want to see how his knee is going to react to all the movements, the practicing. They want to see him in pads. So I think the line is 2 downs, and let's go from there. When you got Anthony Hitchens that's a good backup, I think that's a plan in place where you can keep it like that. The guy that I keep on screaming about is Damian Wilson. That's the dude that's going to be our man this year. I'm trying to tell you, G, I'm so excited about Damian Wilson because he's going to be a difference maker, and if we get Jalen Smith to play a little bit, right, and then you get Sean Lee and Damian Wilson, that makes our linebacking core one of the better linebacking cores in the NFL now.
Without a doubt.
You don't keep there because for not for a long time it's been a crutch, but we haven't had those standout linebackers. And then you saw when we had Rolando McClain and when you saw Sean Lee just play a little bit together, you saw how much better our defense was when we had those attacking linebackers who were filling the gaps, who were able to hit them running backs out the backfield. You saw how much better it made our team. So I think our linebacking core with Jalen Smith, I think he might be a two-down guy right now until they see what he's going to do. I think the preseason is going to be huge for Jalen Smith. So I'm just waiting for training camp to happen and preseason to see if the guy can get more than 2 downs because he's not practicing every day. He's practicing every other day.
I mean, they got to have a lot of confidence in him, and this was something we had on the list today too because they let David Harris walk away to the Patriots. I mean, you still have Darrell Washington out there as a possibility, but that's got to show you the type of confidence they must have in Jalen Smith because they're not going after anybody.
Exactly.
And they got the cap room right now to do it.
Exactly. And I think they're just doing the wait-and-see approach. Let's wait and see because think about it, G. It's not a big rush for us to sign somebody right now. There's plenty of time where you can sign a guy like in August. How many times do we see them get guys off the street and then within a week they're learning the system? In 2 weeks, it's like they already know what's going on. These guys are NFL players, so it doesn't take them long to adjust. And it's a defense that Ron Marinelli runs. It's not that super complicated type of defense. It's more on reaction than you have to think every single play. So you can have a guy come in and him not have to be there for the whole training camp and him come in and do some things for your team. So we've already shown that we can get guys off the street and make them work. So I don't think that's a big deal. So I think they really just want to see what Jalen Smith looks like in training camp, what he looks like in preseason, and then kind of go from there. And then when you got a backup like Anthony Hitchens that's a do-all guy, you're not that scared. As long as Sean Lee stays healthy, that's the biggest key to me.
I mean, you said it. We said it time and time again. I mean, it's the cheap, younger, that's the method now here in Dallas.
Exactly.
Well, in Dallas there, but,
right.
We've said that time and time again.
Exactly. Gerald Hughes, what are the two defensive ends for us that will be successful?
Well, to me, that's obvious. I mean, David Irving, Taco Charlton. Those are your guys you're counting on for some sacks.
Exactly.
And those are your difference makers.
Right. But it's going to be a fight this year, G, because
we know what
DeMarcus
Lawrence is now.
We know what DeMarcus Lawrence is. I'm sorry, I don't have the faith in DeMarcus Lawrence anymore. I really think DeMontre Moore is a guy that we really have to keep our eye on. I think he has the chip on his shoulder, as they per se, and he really wants to make a spot. And we still have to see what Tapper's going to do. But think about it, G. If you're having a 53 active roster, you can only have so many defensive ends active, and that's why it's going to be such a battle this year because you got David Irvin on the side, you got Taco Charlton, you got Charles Tapper, you got DeMarcus Lawrence, you got DeMontre Moore, you have those Tyrone Crawford. Only 2 guys are really going to be playing that spot, and even if you usher in other guys, there's only going to be a certain amount. Some guys, Benson Mayoa. Somebody's going to be inactive or somebody's going to be cut.
So it's going to be somebody that's pretty good.
Yeah, somebody's going to
what we said about DeMontre Moore before. He's kind of been maybe a product of some other teams that have had some deep defensive lines like that. So that could be the case again. I don't know. Maybe with him, maybe not. Probably not him, but it could be with one of these guys that's pretty good and gets cut for depth reasons.
And that's what we get excited about when we're talking about the competition because only the best are going to play now. It's not a position where you feel like you coming in the next year and I got my spot. My spot is guaranteed because I don't have anybody behind me that's really going to push me for my spot. Now you have that, and that's why our team is going to be better. So that's why I'm not fearing and worrying about these teams that are talking all this trash about these Cowboys because we're going to have the ultimate competition in training camp. This is going to be one of the most competitive training camps I feel like in a very, very long time, and only the best are going to get out there. So when we field that team in the regular season, yeah, we might have some lumps only because of the inexperience of maybe some rookies, but you're also going to have a really fierce team. And when we get that defense together, that's when we win Super Bowls. We won them in the 90s. We won them in the 70s. Why did we win them? When we got Charles Haley, when we had 1991, when we had that really good year and you were like, okay, Dallas is going up and coming, we got Charles Haley. Once we got that rush in, when we got that defense that really solidified our team, we were unstoppable. That's what happens with the Dallas Cowboys. Get that defense, we're going to win. Dino asks, Crawford moving back to defensive tackle. I don't know what they're going to do with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, they keep moving him back and forth, and I'm telling you, the main reason why they keep playing Crawford, in my opinion, is because he's making $10 million a year. He's making that $10 million salary, and that's a big difference. They want to play him at the 1 technique. They can't really play him at the 3 technique because that's Malik Collins' spots. He's not beating out Malik Collins, but you can still play him at defensive end. But I don't think he's as effective. What do you think, G? I don't think he's as effective when he plays defensive end. To me, he was best when he played under tackle, but he's had them shoulder surgeries. So it's like, what do you do with this dude?
I think it's just like what we said about Brandon Carr. You can put those guys in the same category as far as being overpaid. And when they're making a lot of money, they're not. You want them off the team when they're not doing well.
Right.
He wasn't making much money. No one would really care. You'd say, oh, he's a good, solid player.
Right. So if he's making $5 million a year, we're okay.
He's making money where he should be a lot more productive than he's been.
Exactly.
And I think that's the issue everybody has. But we know the potential's there. We just got to see, him unleash it for a full season. So this is probably the last season and last chance he has to prove it with the Cowboys.
I believe so, or he's going to have to take a pay cut. I mean, that's the biggest thing that's going to happen with Crawford to me. But we all know what Tyron Crawford is now. He's like a 4.5, maybe a 5-sack guy. He got the big contract. And think about it. When Tyron Crawford got his contract, it was based on potential.
Yeah, he was a third-round pick.
It wasn't on numbers. Yeah, he was a third-round pick, but it wasn't on numbers. He wasn't getting great numbers when he got that contract. It was based on the potential we saw for him. But now it's like he's kind of just topped out as far as his talent, and he's just a steady player, and he's not really a $10 million guy.
Right.
We probably just overpaid for him and maybe believed a little bit of the hype.
If you were to go based on strictly performance and what we've got on the team right now with nothing else involved, you'd think David Irving is the one that makes that kind of money.
Exactly.
He had more of impact on games.
He had more impact on games, but who's getting paid? And he's not even getting a big contract, and he has to have a big contract this year because he's only on a 1-year deal with us. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So he's got to step on his end because he's out. I guess it's almost looking like he is going to miss the first 4 games of the season because of what happened. So you got 12 games to really prove. But honestly, I think the Cowboys will let him slide on another year deal.
Well, yeah, I mean, with that type of potential talent.
I mean, 6'7", 285 pounds. You're just not letting that walk. Tyrone Crawford, you'll let walk, but you're not letting 6'7", 285 pounds just walk off for a 1-year deal. I don't care if you had the 4-game suspension. They're going to still keep it with him. Ron Smith asks, yes, Byron Jones, that's the guy we've been talking about. I think he is. I don't know if he is. I don't know if Byron Jones is a 5, 6, 7 interception guy every year.
Now he doesn't have veterans behind him, so now he's just forced into that leader role. Him and Brown will have to be the guys.
I like Byron Jones,
Scandrick,
though. I like Byron Jones. I think he will step up, but I just don't think – I just, in my heart, don't see him being that big interception guy. He's just a really good, steady player, and I feel like his career will always be like that. Is he better than look at Barry Church. That's the way his career was. Is he going to be better than Barry Church? He has better athletic ability, but is he going to take that next step as being that top playmaker?
He's got to develop that veteran
He's got to develop that
leadership role.
He can cover tight ends. He can cover receivers, but he has to make more plays on the back end as far as getting the interceptions.
He needs to be a ball hawk.
He needs to be more of a ball hawk. I have to see that this year because I didn't see it at UConn. We haven't seen it yet. He's just a really good player, but I don't know if he's that playmaker. That's what I have to see this year. If he doesn't do it this year, I don't think that's what he is.
I mean, he was a late first-round pick,
right?
Very late in the first round.
I mean, he was at the bottom end. And remember, his combine numbers pushed him in the first round.
Right.
If he didn't have those great combine numbers, he wouldn't have been a first-round pick.
I feel like we always take chances on guys like that are great athletes. If you look back to like a J.J. Wilcox, remember he was kind of a project, played 1 year safety in college.
He was a running back. You know what I'm saying?
So that's kind of like Byron Jones is the same category as he's a versatile athlete. He does all kind of different things, but he just doesn't have his niche, like what he specializes in. He hasn't found that, so that's something that he needs to find this season and take it to the next level.
Well, not just that with Byron Jones. To me, it's like I said, if he didn't have a great combine, I don't know if Byron Jones would have been in the first round. I think Byron Jones may have been a second round. Maybe he could have been a high third-round pick if he didn't have that combine. That combine pushed him into the first round. So maybe we could have overdrafted him because of the combine, pushed him up higher. That's what it could have happened with Byron Jones. I just have to see that playmaking. Am I down on Byron Jones? No, I like Byron Jones, but I just need to see more playmaking, and this is the year I have to see it. That's just my opinion on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you. 100%.
I think Evian says we need more turnovers. We definitely need more turnovers this year. I think
that's kind of what we were just talking
right.
about with him being more of a ball hog.
That's the biggest thing that we need, because last year we were almost at the bottom of the barrel with turnovers last year. The year before that we were very high, but we weren't getting a lot of sacks. I think it has to go hand in hand. The more sacks you get, the more turnovers you get. The more pressure you put on the football, the more pressure you put on the quarterback, turnovers just come. So that's where we have to get a better pass rush. I don't see us getting a 12, 13 sack guy this year, but I do think we'll have steady guys throughout the lineup getting those multiple sacks. I think Malik Collins is the one guy on the team that could possibly get the 10 sack and be that dominant force. I know he plays defensive tackle, but I really like Malik Collins, and I think Malik Collins is going to get that 10 sack. He's going to get those double-digit sacks this year. I don't know if a guy on the outside gets those double-digit sacks. I don't see that, but I definitely see Malik Collins getting that in the middle this year.
Well, one guy that we could say has the potential to get something like that could be a Charles Tapper, although we have no idea.
We haven't seen it. You know what I mean?
It's all based on potential of what you've seen in college.
And everybody's talking about Tapper, but he still has to make it out. He has to make it out of training camp and be on that active roster. You know what I'm saying? Like, people have to see. There's only 53 people playing on that roster. You are only going to have a certain amount of defensive linemen on that active roster. And if you're not making a wave in that roster or making waves in training camp or practice, you're going to be deactivated for that game. That's just the facts. Benson Mayoa was deactivated for 3 games. Why? Because he wasn't making it happen, and he got deactivated. It can happen with some of these guys, so Tapper has to really show us a lot. Todd asks, will Jason Witten retire at the end of the season? Only if we win a Super Bowl, I believe. If we win a Super Bowl this year, I can see Jason Witten retiring.
I think it's also going to depend on what he's leaving behind. Like, if Rico Gathers steps up and looks like he's going to be the man, I think Witten would be a little bit more comfortable stepping down in that situation. I don't think he would leave the Cowboys high and dry. Like, I think if Romo didn't realize that Dak was going to be a great quarterback, he wouldn't have walked away.
Yeah, but this is what I think about Witten. That's a lot of grind every year. And I think when we lost that game against Green Bay, I honestly believe this is the first time Witten actually thought about walking away, because you win that many games, you put so much effort in.
Too, so that goes into it.
True, but when you put all that effort into it and you get that far, 13-3, you think you're going to win, and then you lose like that after you playing so many years, that makes you think, like, do I want to keep doing this every year? You know what I'm saying? That's when those guys get that age, when they're 35, 34, 35, they're like, do I want to do this another year? Do I really want to do this another year? I think the only way Jason Witten leaves is if we win a Super Bowl.
I think Witten's the type of player that would take a step back in a lesser role for the good of the team. I just feel like he's that much of a team guy, and he's won the Walter Payton Award, so the only way he's not going away unless the Cowboys are left in a good situation there.
Yeah, I agree. Ron asked about Bryce Butler. Do I think he will step up? I think Bryce Butler, me and my guy Stars Up Anthony, we were talking about him with the Ryan Switzer thing going on. Because everybody is on Ryan Switzer. He's the darling of the camp. But
he's been the one to get the most opportunities so far.
He's been getting the most opportunities.
As far as Beasley being out.
Exactly.
And Butler out, or Whitehead out too.
Whitehead has been out too. But honestly, I think Butler is going to be good for us. I don't think he came in really fit. He's making a lot of catches, and I like Bryce Butler. Only thing wrong with Bryce Butler has been, to me, is consistency. If he could consistently get out there and make those catches, he's going to play. But the thing with Bryce Butler, me and Anthony was talking about this, is if he drops a pass, then he's going to sit.
Yeah,
Ryan Switzer,
kill his confidence,
right, and that's going to kill his confidence. Not just that, but Ryan Switzer, if he drops a ball, he's a rookie. They're going to give him a little more leeway than a Bryce Butler, because he's been in the league.
But, watching a lot of the games last season when Des Bryant was out, Dak Prescott and Bryce Butler had some great chemistry together.
Yes.
Even though he might have dropped some balls here and there. I mean, he's not a top-flight receiver, I don't think, by any stretch, but he's definitely serviceable. When you have that chemistry, that's hard to replace.
And he's got good size, and he has good speed, and he's made some good catches. I think, like I said, the biggest thing with that is Bryce Butler has to be consistent. He's have to make those catches. When he's in the game, make the catches. When you're in the game, make the catches. The more you make the catches, the more you're going to play. So I know Bryce Butler, I think he's really going to make the squad. He's not going to be one of those 40-catch guys, but I think he's going to be good for us to make big catches when we need him to.
All right, let's go ahead and hit up the phone lines. We've got Antoine on the line. How's it going, Antoine?
Hey, how you doing, man?
What's
How's
going on,
everything
Antoine?
going?
What's going on? What's going on?
Big James, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I'm chilling, big dog. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. I was just calling, man. I'm thinking, I'm just trying to figure out what we're going to do in free agency. Are we going to pick somebody up with the money that we got, that we have, or we going to try to make the competition a little stiffer with the linebacker in case Jalen Smith do not cut out to do what we think he's going to do and try to sign old boy Darryl since the Jets since the Patriots picked up the Jets linebacker that was a free agent.
Well, honestly, like we were talking about a little earlier, Antoine, I think it's going to be a wait and see. I think they really want to see what Jalen's going to do on the field. I think that's why they're really anticipating to see what training camp is doing. I think that's going to be the biggest parameter. Is if we go out and get another linebacker in free agency. I think they're satisfied with what they have. They have a guy named John Lote, who they're really high on. They are really pushing him. I mean, he wasn't a guy that was been on the radar, but they're saying he's everywhere. He's not the biggest guy. He's 5'11". He's 230 pounds, but they're saying he's everywhere, and they're excited with him. So I think they're really going to wait until training camp, those preseason games, and if we're not having any major injuries, and if Jalen Smith is looking just a little bit good, I think we're going to roll with that unless we have a major injury, or they would have already got Washington.
Okay. Okay, so basically that's what it's looking like. We just playing a waiting game.
Yeah, I think we're just playing the waiting game because think about it. We would have already had somebody in camp right now. We would have already signed somebody, and I think we just really want to save that money. We want to use that money to our main players like Zach Martin, whose contract is his contract is basically coming up next year, and I know they want to re-sign him, so I know they're going to use some of that money. I think we want to keep our core and just want to see if we feel like Jalen Smith can really do it, and they're happy with those backups. They're going to roll with it. Unless we have a major injury, we may not even reach out to Washington unless there's an injury on the field.
Okay.
All right.
That's all I just want to tell y'all doing a great job, man. Y'all keep up the good
Appreciate
work.
it.
Hey, appreciate you, Antoine. Appreciate you always tuning in. Love you, big dog. Love you, Cowboys. Love you all day. How about them Cowboys?
All right, take it easy, sir. Thank you for the call. Okay.
All right.
That
was
so
Mr. Antoine.
Dino put a question in the comment section here. He said he has a two-part question.
Okay.
He says, was it a bad idea to rest the starters at the end of the season last year? We'll go ahead and start with that one.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of feel, yes, because remember when we played the Washington Redskins in 2014 and we didn't rest anybody until like the very end and we mashed them boys. It gave us an attitude and we had that edge. I think maybe letting off the pedal and not letting Zeke and them play maybe took a little bit off the edge. But honestly, I don't think that's why we lost to Green Bay was the edge. I just think that Green Bay came in there with nothing to lose, played a absolutely ridiculous game, and we still played a very good game and lost in the last seconds because of a bad play.
It
so
felt
I
like
don't really look at it.
It felt like it. To me, I think maybe it did hurt a little bit because it just seemed like it took them a while to get going in that game. Like they had some rust in the beginning, the first half or so.
But we also had 2 weeks off.
Second half, true. But second half, well, that goes in 2 weeks off goes into them sitting players in the last week, right?
Right.
So in the second half, we looked like the same old team.
Mm-hmm.
But we looked very rusty in the first half. So I think it could have hurt, but there's really no way to know for sure.
Yeah.
The second part of his question, though, real quick. He says, do you see us – it doesn't really go with the first part, but it's just another question. He says, do you see us making the wild card round or the divisional round? Or I think he's asking, do we get a bye week or do we make a wild card run?
I think we're going to win our division again. So I think we're probably going to have a first-round bye again.
Division could be wild card, so he's saying top 2 seeds.
I think we'll be in the top 2 seed again. I think we'll have the same type of deal we'll have last year.
I wonder who's going to be up there with us because we were ahead by, a good full 2 games this year?
I think Atlanta will be a foe. People are talking about Green Bay, but I think Atlanta still – they had a good draft.
Last year we had the number 1 seed locked up with, a couple weeks left.
Right. I think us in Atlanta, because as I said before, Atlanta didn't really lose anybody, but they gained a lot of people, especially with that draft. They had a good draft, and they got a lot of young players. So I think – We're still going to be a top seed. I don't think we're coming in as a wild card by any means. And we just really have to. Maybe we'll look at what we did last year and now rest those guys if we have the same situation so we can keep that edge. Because remember, in 2014, when we went to the playoffs, we came in, we played our first game against the Detroit Lions. And I think that was a bigger deal because, remember, we had just come off mashing those Redskins, and then the next week we were fresh playing the Detroit Lions, and we didn't have to rest. So I think that hurt us, maybe just having that bye off.
And since you want to talk about that from 14, if you want to compare 14's playoff game against Detroit to this year's playoff game against Green Bay, I like the team we had this year better than the team in 14. We barely won that game against Detroit if it weren't for some fluky call with Anthony Hitchens.
True. If we didn't have the pass interference, we probably lost that game.
And last year's game, I feel like had the defense, maybe clicked 2 minutes sooner than it did in the game, we would have beat Green Bay easily. We were blowing them out, outside of some of the lucky plays they got in the first half.
I mean, I guess that's the frustrating thing, G, is that we knew we were better than Green Bay last year. That's what pisses me off about last year's game is because we were better than them.
We smashed them the first time.
We smashed them the first time.
With no Dez.
With no Dez, we smacked them. In their house. And then, the game wasn't even close. The game was not close when we whooped them in Green Bay. You feel me? We had them no touchdowns until, almost the last quarter of the game.
But Aaron Rodgers was smoking hot coming into that playoff
game.
Right,
exactly. But we were still better than them. Even him playing out of his mind, they still barely beat us. So that just lets me know we are better than Green Bay. We're better than Green Bay this year. I don't care they got Aaron Rodgers. We're a better team than Green Bay Packers. We're going to beat them again this year. So I can't wait to play them because we're better than the Green Bay Packers.
That's what I was saying as far as wondering who's going to be if we're going to be a top 2 seed, who's going to be the other team in there? It's got to be Falcons or Packers, right? Or
I'm going to say the Falcons.
Is Seattle going to come back up and be one of those powerhouse teams again?
You can't never count out Seattle because as long as they got Russell Wilson that defense, I mean, they're a player in the game. Just like you said, as long as you got a really good quarterback, you're always going to be competitive. And if you got a good defense like they do, that's always going to keep them in games, no matter what. That's why people always – if you – think about this, G. If you got a franchise-type quarterback and a good defense, you're always almost going to be competitive every single year.
That goes back to my point about the window being open for a while.
Well, I'm starting to see your window thing. I'm starting to see your window thing just a little bit now. But if you always got a good defense, I mean, look at the Ravens. Look at the Ravens for so long. They didn't have great quarterbacks, but they had that good defense.
And a good running game.
And a good running game. So when I was listening to Raider V saying that it's a passing game now, but when you have a good running game, it changes your whole team.
He's saying it's a passing game now because the Raiders have no running game.
Exactly. They're throwing,
so that's why
you talk about Amari Cooper and throwing. You don't have a running back like Zeke. You wouldn't say that if you had a running back. You have Marshawn Lynch, who's 30.
Now watch Marshawn Lynch somehow come in and get 1,500 yards. He's not going to be saying it's a passing league anymore.
No, he's going to be hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch.
It's a running league.
It's a running league. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can have a great pass.
I feel like the running game's come back a lot myself.
I feel like you always have to have some type of running game to make your offense good.
It was gone more the last few seasons, like during that stretch where we had no first-round running backs pick.
Right.
Now I feel like the running game is back and strong with a lot of guys like Bell, Johnson, Elliott, Jordan Howard.
Look how much of a difference it makes. I mean, look at the Bears, right? You talked about Jordan Howard. Look how much it helps them that they have a Jordan Howard back there.
They didn't win games, but that's all they had on offense last year.
Exactly. You can't tell me if you don't have a really good running back there, it changes your whole game because play action, you can do so many different things with your offense if you have a great running game. If you just have a serviceable running back or he's not nobody you fear, you're going to blitz.
Even New England, I know it seems like they never have running backs, but LeGarrette Blount is a monster for them, whenever he gets in there. And he
had 18 touchdowns last year, over 1,000 yards rushing.
Yeah, the running game definitely matters.
It does matter, so I don't want to hear this. It's a passing league.
C.J. Anderson was a big part of Denver when they made the run and won it, with Peyton Manning in his last season.
You have to have some type of running game to make your offense go. You can't throw the ball every single play. Let's think about it. Remember when we had the Houston Oilers back in the day, G, with the run and shoot? They didn't get far because they stopped that running game. So you got to have a running game in this day and age. I don't care what anybody says. Y'all going ham on the page. I love it. Y'all going back and forth. We're going to do this thing. Raider V, I'm going to make sure we do this thing with you if you're still tuning in. We're going to get this, going back and forth. We got to get that going because I love you being on the page and us, our Cowboys fans going at you. That's just like the best, yo.
Let's jump to the phone line. We got Dr. Doomsday on the line. What's up, Dr. Doomsday?
Dr. Doomsday!
What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Just a little rainy in Georgia, but otherwise, all right.
We got I love our Georgia fans. We got so many people from Georgia. Like, much love to all our GA fans. Much love to all y'all out there.
It's Cowboys Nation's worldwide, countrywide. It's everywhere.
Yeah. Talk to me, Dr. Doomsday. Have you been looking at the top 100?
Yes, I have.
All right, so tell me, where do you think Zeke is going to fall in that top 10 Monday?
I think Zeke's going to be probably number 3.
3? Who's he going to be? Who's in front of him?
I'd say probably Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady.
There we go. It's got to be the quarterbacks.
Yeah, quarterbacks. Or maybe Matt Ryan, because people don't forget, Matt Ryan was the MVP.
I think I'm going to go with him, though, as far as Aaron Rodgers.
That's why I honestly, I think it'll be Brady and Matt Ryan, just to me, because he played in the Super Bowl and he was the MVP of the league. So I just think he's going to get the nod over Rodgers, even though I think Rodgers is a better quarterback.
True. That's true.
But Zeke is a beast. So, Dr. Doomsday, how's it been going over there, man? Talk to me. How's everything been going?
Everything been going all right, man. But you know what? I just got to say something. You know, to these Raider fans that get on this show, I mean, you know, you guys. I mean, these guys right here, something else. I mean, just like I said, if they want some, they can come get some.
We love the hate.
We love them, Dr. Jones, because think about it. Like I tell all of them, like I got a group right now, right? And this is my guy. I'm going to tell you, Mike Perez, if you listen to the show, I'm telling you, because he's a big-time Giants fan, right? He waking up early in the morning, what's up, everybody? How you doing? What y'all's record's going to be? So he breaks down what he thinks the Giants going to be, 12-4, blah, blah. And then he says, yeah, we're going to whip them Cowgirls 2 games. Why are you way in your mouth? The first thing you wake up and you talking about your team is Cowboys. You are worried about us. We're not worried about you bums. We're not worried about the Giants. People keep talking about these Giants. Giants ain't going 12-4. I don't care if you got Brandon Marshall on your team. Brandon Marshall, to me, is a cancer. Brandon Marshall has played in the league how long and has never been to the playoffs? So how is he supposed to just take the Giants to the promised land now? You know what I mean? Him and Odell Beckham, y'all probably going to be fighting week 8. We ain't worried about you Giants. We ain't worried about your Raiders. We ain't worried about you Packers. We ain't worried about none of you teams. We're going to do what we do. You worried about us. We don't worry about you.
That's right. I mean, you know, this is just a prime example of why we are America's team.
We're America's team. We don't care about y'all.
You love them or you hate them, but you will tune in and turn in to see what people are saying about them. That's why they call America's team.
You feel me, Dr. Doomsday? It's just so funny to me. Y'all jump on Cowboys pages all the time and talk about how we suck and we this and that. We can't suck, because if we suck, you wouldn't jump on our page and tell us that. We're good. You know we good. We have tradition. We're the Cowboys. Do you understand that? We are the Dallas Cowboys. We have the star. We wear the star. You love us or you hate us, you will tune into us. We have championships. I don't care if we ain't won a championship in 20 years. We still got more than all y'all in 100 years. You get what I'm saying? So all these teams that keep on talking all this and that, it don't matter if we ain't won a Super Bowl in forever. We still got more than you. So shut up.
I mean, bottom line is, NFL wouldn't be the NFL without the Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly. Didn't they say we're the number 1 fans out there? We're the number 1 franchise. We are the number 1 money franchise. We are the fans, number 1. We are the best. If you looked at the poll that they have, Raider Nation, I don't even think it was in the top 5 as the biggest fan polls out there. It's the Dallas Cowboys, man. We're America's team. I love you, Dr. Doomsday. I'm going to get some more people on there. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I appreciate you calling in and giving me your example.
Hey, peace out, guys.
Keep tuning in. How about them Cowboys?
Appreciate it, Doomsday.
How about them Cowboys?
Yes, Antonio, we don't go to y'all's page. Y'all troll our pages. We don't go to your page because we are the star. You understand that? We are the star. That's why I can't wait till the regular season starts. So when I hear about you Giants talking all that trash, make sure you jump on the page when we beat you. Make sure you jump on the page when we beat you.
Oh, we ain't going to hear from them.
And don't make the excuses like you always do when we beat y'all. Oh, it was the rest. Oh, it was this. No, it's the Dallas Cowboys, and we whipped your butt. So when we come in and you play you Giants week 1 and we smack you and you keep talking about your little receivers, we ain't worried about you Giants. You're worried about us. That's why we're in your mouth.
Hey, we appreciate everybody who's been tuning in today. Thanks a lot. It really means a lot to have your support with us here, Silver and Blue Nation Facebook live stream. Share it, like it.
Like it all day.
Go to the EB Sports Network page. Search for that, EB Sports Network.
Yes.
Like that page. Follow them. We'll be live on there here in a little bit as well. As a matter of fact, 6:30 Eastern Time over here, p.m. tonight, till 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. We will be live on EB Sports Network giving you more Dallas Cowboys talk. So make sure you join that, like it, share it, all that good stuff. Subscribe to the YouTube channels. Go search for the Twitter, Instagram, all the social media. We're coming big. We're coming fast.
Exactly.
And it's been fun.
Well, I've been loving it. Just like the Bounce Off G, we appreciate everybody who tunes in every week. I love how all the Cowboys we're all congregating. We're getting together. This is all Cowboy Nation. If anybody trolls, jump on the page. We got Cowboy lovers that are going to smash y'all because y'all ain't doing it. We love y'all. We love everybody who tunes in. You're walking into a Lions Den. When you jump in on this page right here, when you jump into Silver and Blue Nation, you're jumping into a pit of cobras and snakes and lions and tigers and bears. Oh, my. Give me a how about them Cowboys, man?
How about them Cowboys?
Don't come into the snake pit.
Don't come into the snake pit because you ain't ready. I got my dogs. I got my Trey. I got Anthony. I got everybody. I got all these star people that if you want to talk about your team, y'all going to get ate up because there's a bunch of piranhas here at Silver and Blue Nation. We love y'all. How about them Cowboys? Can I get another one?
How about them Cowboys?
Are you ready to go get some lunch?
Yeah, we about ready to get some lunch, man.
Make sure you jump on for the late night edition.
Late night edition. We're going to talk. We're going to break down some more top 100. We're going to talk more Cowboys football. Tune in to the 6:30 show because we're going to break down more of the training camp, more of the training camp battles, more of what we're looking at the offensive line, what we're looking back in the secondary. Has some good stuff that we can talk about as far as position players, and what we're looking like. So make sure you tune in to the 6:30 edition for Silver and Blue Nation. Make sure powered by EB Sports. We're going to have the call in 1-866-217-1966. We're going to be here all night. Well, not all night.
We gotta go home sometime.
We gotta go home sometime. So we're gonna go grab some food. We'll be back here at 6:30. So for me, Big Game James,
Producer G,
we'll see y'all soon. 6:30.
Hey, JK will be here as well.
JK will be here.
He should be.
And make sure you bust JK's chop by playing golf because he ain't getting paid. Hitting that golf ball. It's like, I love you, JK. We'll see you in a little bit. How about them Cowboys,
How about
baby?
How about them Cowboys?
You love them or you hate them, but you will tune in and turn in to see what people are saying about them. That's why they call America.
I don't have time to have a bad time. And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.